Welcome to another episode of the Retirepreneur Podcast. I'm your host with this week's executive summary for busy entrepreneurs building their second act business. Today's episode is designed for maximum impact in minimum time. We're doing a deep dive today, and it's into a single, really critical question from the founder of Retirepreneur.
Right.
The idea is simple. As we head towards the new year, forget resolutions, those massive, sprawling lists.
List of wishes, yeah.
Exactly. Instead, the challenge is to focus on answering just one strategic question for this next season of building. And that question is, what's the one thing that changes everything else?
And that framing, honestly, is the whole game. It's the essential strategic challenge for, I think, every experienced professional starting something new.
We see a pattern, don't we?
Oh, a very common pattern. The typical trap for people who've had these incredibly successful careers, it's not a lack of drive. It's not a lack of resources.
It's almost the opposite.
It is. It's overambition. That, combined with a totally scattered focus.
It's that January 1st feeling. You wake up with, 47 high-level goals?
47, yeah.
I want to launch the consulting business. I want to master AI. I need to write the book, build the social media presence, and, optimize the website.
All at once. And the paradox that the material really drives home is that 47 scattered goals almost always leads to 0 executed goals. You've spent decades of your professional life applying this intense strategic discipline, right?
Right.
Prioritizing capital, allocating scarce resources.
But then we don't apply that same ruthless discipline to our own attention.
Exactly. It's like we give ourselves a pass. We say, oh, this is my fun second act, and treat it like a hobby where we could just indulge every interest.
Instead of a business that demands, C-suite level prioritization.
Precisely. The goal here is to get that one big rock executed with 100% focus beats 10 scattered pebbles every single time.
That concentration reminds me of that principle from Brian Tracy. There is never enough time to do everything, but there's always enough time to do the most important thing.
That's it. And if you, the listener, you have the experience, you have the capital, you have the drive, the only thing left standing in your way is self-imposed complexity.
Which brings us to our first big insight. And it starts with a pretty honest confession.
Yeah, a real confession from the founder of Retirepreneur about his own struggle.
He admits that he's a professional learner, that he actually prefers the research, the planning, the reading over the actual creating and doing.
And that is such a recognizable pattern for high-achieving people. They confuse input with output.
The material gives this great visual of having, 47 browser tabs open.
Right.
A dozen are on YouTube strategy, 8 are on the latest AI tools, 6 are courses you bought but never even started.
And none of them, critically, are helping you hit the record button.
It doesn't feel like procrastination, though. That's the tricky part. It feels responsible. It feels like due diligence.
But the material calls it what it is, the sophisticated procrastination trap.
That's a perfect name for it.
Because for experienced professionals, knowledge without execution isn't power, it's just expensive entertainment.
You get stuck in that research loop, you read a great business book.
And then you find 3 more in the bibliography, you buy those, and then you're off researching conflicting strategies. And the very analytical approach that made you successful before is now the thing causing total paralysis.
So what's driving this? Why do these otherwise decisive, seasoned professionals get stuck in this cycle?
It all comes down to protection. The stakes just feel different now.
How so?
Well, in your corporate career, your standing was based on knowledge, on rigor, on avoiding public mistakes. Now, in this second act, you have decades of credibility to protect.
That's a fascinating insight. It's not just fear of failure, it's fear of damaging the legacy.
Exactly. Failure inside a massive company is institutional. Failure in your own small venture feels deeply personal. So the safety of saying, I'm still getting ready, feels so much better than the vulnerability of, I tried this and it didn't work.
So the first shift is replacing the comfort of preparation with the risk of action, which I think leads perfectly to our second big insight, the 2-window reality.
This is a great analogy. It's super visual. Just picture your workspace, your desktop, divided into 2 distinct windows.
Okay.
The left window is for consuming. The right window is for producing.
The left window, that's where the sophisticated procrastination lives. It's the tutorials, the articles, that endless prep work.
It's safe. It feels like you're in control. It's where we gather all the knowledge.
It's the right window.
The right window is where the business actually gets built. That's the space for creation, for publishing, for making the call, for asking for the sale.
And you have to ask yourself, Which window actually moves the needle?
It's only the right one. The left window can optimize 100% of 0, but it never actually creates the 1.
And the painful thing is, most of us are spending 80% of our time in that left window. We know the right window is what matters, but we live on the left.
It's a total misallocation of resources. It goes right back to Stephen Covey's Big Rocks.
Yeah.
If you fill the jar with sand first, the small tasks, the endless learning, the big rocks just never fit.
So the actionable insight here is a real commitment to production, to living in that right window.
The retirepreneur commitment is really specific on this. The allocation has to shift to 80% doing, 20% learning.
And that 20%, it isn't just for general curiosity, right?
Not at all. That 20% is only for when you are specifically stuck. You need a technical fix, a precise answer. Not just general browsing. The whole philosophy has to become publication over perfection.
I love the line from the material. Imperfect and posted beats perfect and hidden.
That's the entire psychological breakthrough right there. If you're not publishing, you're not getting market feedback. You're just playing a private game of strategy in an expensive vacuum.
Which takes us to our third major insight, how to actually identify your one single multiplier big rock.
Right. Because if you're going to be ruthless about living in the right window, you better be damn sure you're doing the right thing in that window.
The goal is fewer things for more effect.
Exactly.
So if we accept this idea of one big rock for the next 90 days, how do you choose it from everything?
It's about using a filter, not a checklist. And there are 4 questions that really help you identify the action with the biggest domino effect.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first filter is, what's the one skill or action that would make everything else easier or unnecessary?
The leverage point.
That's it. So, for example, if you're struggling with content, maybe mastering a consistent video process is the multiplier. It automatically gives you blog posts, social clips, email content. It solves multiple problems at once.
That makes sense. What's the second filter?
This one's more psychological. What am I avoiding because it scares me? We find so often that our biggest points of resistance, the things that make us nervous, that's precisely where the highest leverage is. Fear is a compass pointing toward growth.
Okay, let me push back on that a little. What if the thing that scares me, let's say direct sales calls, is also the thing I'm just not good at? Isn't that just setting myself up for failure?
It's a fair question, but remember who we're talking to. These are experienced professionals. The fear usually isn't about a lack of fundamental skill. It's about avoiding that immediate risk of rejection.
The risk to that credibility we talked about.
That's it. But until you make the sale, there is no business. That avoidance is pointing you directly to your biggest financial opportunity.
That's a powerful reframe. Okay, what's the third question?
This one focuses on long-term value. What skill would serve me even if my current goal fails?
Smart. So building transferable assets.
Exactly. Even if your first niche doesn't work out, you've spent your time mastering video or storytelling or personal branding. Those are capital investments in yourself that you take with you anywhere.
And the last question, the one that cuts through all the noise.
What have I been learning about forever without doing?
Oof, that one is ruthless.
But it's necessary. If you've spent 3 years reading about online courses, then your big rock is creating and launching the first module, period. The research has become the hiding place.
So once you use these filters, there's a final gut check, right?
The crucial one. You have to ask yourself, 3 months from now, if I look back and I say, I worked on this one thing, 80% of the time, even if the results are messy and imperfect, will I feel proud?
And if the answer is a huge yes?
You've found your focus, and then the mandate is simple. Be absolutely ruthless, close every other browser tab, mute every shiny new project, shut down anything that doesn't directly support that one thing.
This brings us to the final, really crucial action step. It's about making a firm commitment before the new year even starts.
The challenge is simple. Name your big rock. But just naming it is not enough. You need specificity to make it immune to distraction.
So what are the 3 questions our listeners need to write down right now to lock this in?
First, what is your big rock? And it has to be specific, not be successful. It has to be, for example, acquire and onboard the first 3 retained consulting clients by the end of Q1.
Measurable and time-bound. Got it.
Second, why does it matter? You have to connect the action to your identity. How does this serve the person you are becoming? That's your motivation when things get tough.
And third?
What's your first focused action in week 1 of January? And this has to be a doing action, not a learning task. Record and upload the introduction video, not watch 3 tutorials on lighting.
That specificity is everything. It forces you into the right window on day one. The guiding mandate here is just so clear. One focused action, 12 months, no backup plan.
That's it. That's how you build a real second act. You don't need a smarter you next year. You just need a ruthlessly focused you.
That's your executive briefing for this week. If you found value in these insights, share this episode with fellow retirepreneurs and subscribe to the Retirepreneur newsletter at retirepreneur.com. Follow us for weekly strategic insights, and remember, your most successful chapter is just beginning. Until next week, keep building.